like this. You can say, hey, but I don't think I can do it in one day. It is a definite 2 days work. Try to talk properly. And this is what should happen as part of sprint planning meeting. Okay. Now, how does this reflect in your Jira board? Let's come here. Let's go to Jira. He says, okay, we can finish this work. You move this from bottom and add it to the sprint. Okay. Next, you say, okay, this bug we can also add, move it here. Okay. Bug also added. Next, on top priority, you have to take one by one itself. Okay. If you say, no, before this bug, I want to take this ticket, then you have to discuss that with the product owner. You cannot do it by your choice. You have to again discuss back with the product owner. If he allows, then only you can go to the next ones. Otherwise, this order is very important. It is a business order. Okay, guys, the point is, let me talk about this. Process serious baat karte. Okay. If you don't abide with client rules, okay, maybe picking the tickets, whatever you feel like, business priority, something else, you are picking something else, or client said something in the requirement, you developed something else which is not matching the requirement. Okay. For some critical cases, this has costed people their job. People were fired from the company because they were not able to meet the client needs. Requirement said something else, they built something, and this is what happens. Okay, let's say some feature is developed. In Jira, they gave some requirements. Some feature was developed, not matching this requirement, went to production. And in production, if the behavior works something else, client simply goes to the Jira board, says, hey, we gave you this requirement. Why is the feature working something else? Now you have to answer. And if it is a big feature and you have done it wrong, it might have an impact where clients might say, just get out of the team. Okay, guys, even after review, people might miss, even after testing, people might miss, and it goes to production and still there is a blunder. Everybody is supposed to be blamed, but eventually it might come to the core developer who actually worked on the ticket. But everybody suffers. Okay, so please understand. And guys, I have like seen risks of even 1 CR penalties being charged on the companies. 1 crore ka loss ho gaya because they did not implement some feature properly. Okay, and the client then took that money from the company. Ki bhai, your team has done this kind of a mess. Now, additionally, 1 CR, you have to compensate us for the loss of this product. So this IT job is a serious job. Zyada casual nahi. It depends, but if you're in a casual project, maybe mistakes are okay. But I really want you to become responsible, mature people in industry who think, act, and own these things, and know that firings can happen in industry, job cuttings can happen in industry, and layoffs can happen in industry, and all of this is part of this full game. Even fines happen. Because do you know this thing? Ek baar, in one of my friend's company, literally 2 police officers came and they put a hatkadi on the guy and actually took him to jail. The reason was that person leaked some business data of production to something else, who was caught and he was put behind bars. So it is a pretty exploring and exciting industry, basically. A lot of things happen. I just want you to be responsible while you're walking through this IT industry. Okay? That is important. That is important. Never try to cheat. For example, if you're working for core projects, don't log the credentials in the file knowingly or unknowingly. Never take the production data into your local machines knowingly or unknowingly. Don't try to access things which you are not authorized to access, because every keystroke in your laptop, whatever you type in an office machine, it is all recorded backend. Everything can be traced back. What have you done for the past 5 years in your office machine? Everything is traceable. And many companies do that. And as part of ISO standards, they need to have that level of tracking so as the client interest is preserved. So be very careful. Knowingly or unknowingly, never commit such crimes. It might cost you very bad. And going to jail, paying a lot of money as penalty, anything can happen. So Just like, since you are in the beginning, I just want to plant the right seed in your mind so that you become responsible as you grow in your career. Okay? Be aware such things happen in the industry. Okay, fine. Chalo, all those things said, and then coming back to our topic, it's 9:35. One by one, all the items are being added to the sprint. Okay. Let's say the team says we can finish only this many items. Okay, fine, finished. That's okay. Next question comes, out of all these tickets, who should work on what, right? Estimation done, sprint planning is done. You identified what work needs to be done. Okay, then comes the fourth step. Who will work on what? Because it's a very big thing. A lot of features might be there, UI, QA, this, that. Now there has to be clarity. Now that part comes here. What they do is, okay, they start assigning work ownership. It is also called as maybe WBS, work breakdown structure. Okay, some companies might have this terminology where you take a requirement and you then break it down into smaller granular items. Okay, and this simply can be done something like this. Let's say you click on this task. I'm telling you one way of doing it. Okay, opening is somewhere separate. Be with me, be with me. All this thing is how the things will be working in real life. Okay. I want to show a blank ticket to you so that we can understand it from the beginning. Fine, here it is. Okay. Let's say this is a requirement, empty. Some description, blah, 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 something will be there. Now, what happens is, in this requirement, there is something called as add a child issue, which is also called as subtasks. So for this task or a user story, you can create subtasks. This subtask generally people, many companies may, this is a standard. You can tell in the interview that this was the standard for your company where you chose UI task, server task, QA test case, QA test execution. Okay. If there is DevOps dependency for this, you might create DevOps task. If there is DBA dependency for this, you might create DBA task. Now, it is not for everything, but wherever it is applicable, you create this. Let's say if for this feature, you don't have any UI work, it's only a server ticket, then you don't need a UI task. Okay. If for this ticket, tester is not required, only developers are going to take it to finish it and take to production, then QA task is also not required. Now, the point is, this is the basic structure. It can be customized based upon the need of your requirement. But now the point is, okay, once we choose all of these things, then you can see, okay, this is a UI task, and you just put the name of the person, click on this. It opens something like this. And then you can choose, okay, this UI task will be done by, let's say, Tausief Sheikh. Fine, assigned. Next. तो देखो यहाँ पे ऐसे nesting बनते चलता है. This arrow, this logo is called as subtask. And then if you click here, you can then go back to other. So यहाँ पे देखो, name of the person will start coming, whoever is there. Next, you click on this server task. Then you say, okay, so server task, who is going to work on that? You decide all that during the sprint planning time. You say, okay, this guy works on the server task. Okay, fine. He's also done. By this way, you can contribute and choose which requirements you want to work. So during your sprint planning meeting, while this work is being assigned, you can say, hey, I want to work on this requirement. Can I do it? So if you are speaking and all, you can create whatever work you want. You say, Array, now can I do some front-end development for this sprint? You can talk with your team and you can get those opportunities also. And the team is going to be really helpful. The core motive is everybody should learn, everybody should grow. Okay, fine. This is called as work breakdown. A work will be broken down into ownership responsibilities. And there is one more thing here. Okay, when let's say a server task is created, now as a developer, this person might have some thoughts. How is he going to implement this ticket? He can start describing it here. Okay, first we will do this, then we will do this, then we will do this. By this way, even the approach is available in these requirements. Even 6 months in future, if somebody wants to know what was the thought process of building this requirement, it will be available. And this might be task breakdown. The full requirement, the UI developer goes to his task and updates the step-by-step actions. Okay, we will do this. Server developer goes to his task, he will update, say we will do like this. QA goes there, he writes test cases, he uploads it here, and then the test case execution. This is called as this phase, which is there in the diagram, task breakout. And that becomes your sprint backlog. Backlog is from here, you have to start now your 2 weeks of development cycle. And I'll just show you one step here. You go back to this board and you have filled up all, you have broken down, you have assigned it to people. Now you click on start sprint button. That is the beginning. Okay, now I click on start sprint. Take a second. There is something called as board. Right now, if you see, the board is empty. Kuch to board hai. We will come to this, but it is empty. You go back to backlog. You click on the start sprint. One person, your let's say some senior does it. Sometimes he might ask you to take care of it. Once you start it, you just name the sprint. Cycle is how much? 1 to 4 weeks custom. Standard is 2 weeks. You choose the start date and you maybe put some theory. What do you want to do as part of the sprint? You click on start. And just see here, automatically in the board section, these 4 requirements which you choose to work on the sprint is available. By this way, there will be enough clarity on a day-to-day basis which person is supposed to work on what items. And it will all be available as part of this Jira board. So देखो guys, 2 weeks. Now what is required? Okay, whatever is planned gets accomplished in the 2 weeks of cycle. And that daily progress tracking will happen on this Jira board. Right now, if it isn't to do, that means you have not even started working on that ticket. Now the seniors, your Scrum Master might be, "Arey, khatam hona chahiye tha abhi. It's like already 4 days. Where is your work, man? Complete this." You have not even picked the requirement. We are lagging behind. They have burn down charts. They have burn up charts. Using a lot of those kind of Jira charts, reports, they will say whether you are on track to meet the sprint or not. But so far, whatever we understood so far, are you able to catch it? Just confirm it in the chat, because we are just going topic by topic. Be along. This is how work happens on a day-to-day basis in the IT industry. Okay, many are saying able to understand. Very good. Sure, short, understandable. Nice. Okay, okay. Now let's continue forward. Okay, 9:43 ho gaya. We have like 15 minutes, 17 minutes for the call. Let's continue. Now, the thing is, abhi on a day-to-day basis, you have to develop this feature and finish it. Okay, you need to develop this feature and finish it on a day-to-day basis. How this happens? Chalo, thoda sa let's now jump into that day-to-day track. But there is one thing here, guys. If you see, different type of reports can be developed. Okay, here group by option is there. If you click group by subtask, it shows a different view like this. Okay, even now, now it is more clear, because sometimes it is possible that this guy is working on this UI task. So whenever you are working on the task, you move it from to-do state to in progress. Okay. For example, let's say we created like this. Now, out of all this, we created this. Now, out of all this, okay, if let's say the DevOps guy says, "Hey, I am working on this ticket, whether the rest of the work people are working or not," so DevOps comes, he pulls his ticket from to do into in progress, okay, and starts working on the item. Whenever he is done with his task, if any testing is required, he gives it to the tester. If the tester has also finished his working, he moves it into done section. By this way, everybody can work on their task independently because there are multiple people working on that. Now, there could be another thing. Okay, let's say UI and server guys are working together. But right now, server person, same. Let's say you are the server developer. You are working on this MP144 and MP110 also. Now, coordination is required. IT industry ऐसे ही नहीं चलता है. There is a lot of coordination and planning required. You might tell the other UI person कि right now I'm finishing this work. So that is where you move this into server task. And you can tell the other guy कि maybe when are you going to start working on this, so that he can plan when he should pick it up. So close coordination will be required between UI, server, QA members very much all throughout the 2 weeks. It doesn't happen independent. Okay. Why? Because now the internal phase of execution is going to start. When the sprint started, the internal phase of execution, which is right, first understanding and high level design, okay, and approach finalization. This is the step number 1. Second, UI development. Third, server development. While the time these two guys are doing development, testers are going to do test case writing. That is the 4th step. Meanwhile, they can parallelize it. Meanwhile, step number 5 comes once the UI and the server are ready with the development. They do UI server integration, and then followed by that will be dev testing. Once they finish dev testing and it looks good, then they give it to code review. Meanwhile, tester is going to continue his journey, getting the test case reviewed. This also work happens. And after that, code review hoga server ka. If there are problems, you even work on those problems, dev test it once again, and then some iterations will happen there. After that, you do code merge. Branching rehta hai pura ka pura something. You do a code merging. Once the code merging is done, then you give it to the QA or testers. QAs are also called as testers in many companies, just like that. Okay. You give it to the QA or testers for testing. Once they are finished, they approve it. If there are bugs, they raise more bugs. You have to fix the bugs. Once all that cycle happens, they finally approve it. Now the point is, this happens for every single requirement. That is the day-to-day work for every single requirement. So right now in this Jira board, we have so many tickets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there are so many tickets, so many people, developers, QA and all. There is a very heavy and so much of work needs to be done for every single ticket, for taking it from to-do state into the done state. It's a big journey if you understand. And it is complex at times, but it has to be executed properly. That is where these kind of tools like Jira is required. Otherwise, people will not be able to do such complex work. Okay? Now, all that comes as part of your day-to-day activities. Okay? Now, point is, when you're working on that, you keep moving these items, and then let's say UI task is being worked upon, you move it here, server is worked upon, and till the time, dekho, ek important thing, a developer cannot move the item into QA till the time the feature is fully available for QA. Don't give it in bits and pieces. Try to complete. So let's say even if the UI member has finished the work, server guy is not yet done, that work should be still in progress. The tester cannot test it. So tester will say, bhai, keep it in your bucket. It's with developers. There has to be first you guys finish it, then dev test everything. Once it is done, then you will be like, okay, so now this is done. We want to give these things to QA first. Okay? Now, this is how basically you work with the items. Now, the thing is, while you are working, you need to understand while all of this is happening day to day, you need to understand two important things. Final 10 minutes of the session. Okay, this is also very important things. Two important things. How to manage code. And next important thing is how to work with environments. Environments